Yeah, it's a little late, but why not dump some more poop on the head of people who think something that's not true, right? It's always fun. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Turn up the volume for you guys.
It was the famous American author Ernest Hemingway. When asked, how do you go bankrupt? He says in two ways, gradually and then quickly. And never before has anybody had a more accurate statement around finance. Once you start going bankrupt, it happens quite slowly. The downhill that you
What's up,
hit
Art?
becomes almost impossible to avoid. And South Africa has reached that point. We are in the grips of the debt monster. And anybody who's ever got onto the wrong side of their own finances will understand that it's the debt that kills you. Because the people that you owe money to,
This might be a fourth.
they don't care about your intentions or your issues. They just want to be repaid. They've given you money. You've signed a contract somewhere. They want their money back. And there are the conditions. You pay them back, or else you are going to go bankrupt. And South Africa is officially going bankrupt. Now, we are in the week of the budget. And South Africa has got some startling figures, which you may have heard because they've been out in the news. But let's just recap where we are and why South Africa has earned itself the distinction of getting classified as...
That might be in danger if South Africa goes bankrupt. It might be advisory. No, it might be to your best economic outcome to reevaluate anything you have in South Africa right now. That is not financial advice. That's just, pretty good advice. Wait till after they go bankrupt, then go in there and buy everything up. That's how you typically do it.
Junk status, which means it's not investment grade. In other words, if you give us money, don't expect it to be paid back. South Africa is officially in junk status. As of last year, South Africa had debt of $311 billion.
He's telling it
$311 billion. Let that sink in.
Themselves.
We pay interest of more than $200 billion, 200 billion rand per year that we pay in interest. In other words, about 800 million rand a day, and it's probably closer to R1 billion per day, gets paid just in interest, not to pay back the capital, but just to pay in interest. Our debt is now 85,000 rand per man, woman, and child in this country. And as the government says so proudly, we've got 50% of our country unemployed. So in other words,
that means 50% of the country's got to pay 100% of the debt for the 50% that's not paying the debt, but adding to it. That is the tipping point for bankruptcy and they're experiencing.
Even those unemployed people and their children who have got very little chance of getting a job all owe about 85,000 rand per person in debt and growing.
Let me get rid of it.
In 2012, right, under the Zuma administration, the guy who the MK party think will fix the country, his finance minister then said that Treasury will cap our GDP, our debt relative to our GDP at 40%. This was in 2012. For the last year, our debt to GDP ratio has been at 75%. That was at the last budget, and now it's 79%. South Africa is in very deep trouble. So just like with your own budget, there's two considerations. We all know this, even the non-accountants among us. You get the money that comes in, you get the money that goes out. More money must come in than go out, or else you have a problem. Your debt will increase. So what are the options open to our finance minister, Enoch Godongwana? Well, he's got two options. He can increase his income, or he can decrease what he pays out. So let's examine that. How does he do either of those? Well, he does the increase of income in two ways. One is by increasing taxes. The other is by the economy growing. So in other words, we just create more goods and services, the economy gets better, and money flows into the fiscus. Or he raises taxes. Now, the problem with raising taxes is often it has the opposite effect. You raise taxes, you make it less appealing to do business. There's less incentive for people to make money or start businesses. So the country gets less money in when you raise taxes very often. That's why raising taxes may give you a boost in the short term, but perhaps not in the long term. So which taxes could he raise? Well, we all know that the ANC hates rich people, so the easy thing is to go after the rich people. The problem is we've chased away many of the rich people. And if you are super rich in South Africa, you're not stupid. You could have seen this coming a while off. Maybe go back to 2012 when we were trying to cut our debt to GDP ratio to 40%. And people have taken their money offshore. Or that money sits in tax-free places, either internally, domestically, or internationally. So
now see, what he just mentioned, Trump talked about an external revenue service, because we actually have like $3 to $5 trillion setting off our shores and offshores bank accounts that could be repatriated if we did something like started an external revenue service. And this gentleman here is telling you what the rich South Africans are doing. Well, it's not just the rich South Africans. That's what all rich people do. And see, where they haven't thought of repatriating that money by doing external tax collection instead of the internal revenue collection, they're not getting the advantage of getting that money, and they're giving the rich people a way to get out as they're trying to persecute them, which of course the rich people should leave. But here in America, we're not going to do that because most of the offshores accounts are corporate accounts, and most of those corporate accounts are CCP company corporate accounts, and they've got lots of money in it because they've been funneling money outside of America to destabilize our economy. So we could do external revenue service and totally like two birds with one stone on top of cutting spending and everything else, where South Africa does not have that opportunity.
So you're not going to get more money out of the rich people. And let's understand that a big portion of our country doesn't pay tax. So if you just stay in that part of town, you're just never going to pay tax. So to raise taxes on rich people probably won't give you much of a return. Raise tax on companies. Well, the ANC and President Ramaphosa said he's going to do that by having a tax on profit so that he can create $100 billion BEE fund so that he can take from people who are making profits to give to people who won't make profits. Now, that also has a limited effectiveness, because if they increase the profit on your taxes, anybody who's ever run a company would understand that it's very easy. You just don't reflect higher profits. And you can do this all legally. You just increase the perks, you increase the expenditure of a company so that you don't show a lot of profit. So increasing tax.
Okay, so basically what he just said is you pay your CEOs $120 million a year, kind of like what they do here in America, and you can offset the amount of tax you have to pay the country. Wow, cool. Interesting. Didn't know that. Oh, I did, but shit. Fuck me. Hold on, guys. I think I fucked up. Did I fuck up? Let's see here. Underneath his arm. Yeah, I did fuck up. We'll start it here.
Effectiveness, because if they increase the profit on your taxes, anybody who's ever run a company would understand that it's very easy. You just don't.
There we go.
South Africa is already a very, very highly taxed country and not competitive at all. Where does that leave us? Well, that leaves us with the easiest tax to raise, and that is VAT.
VAT tax.
But raising VAT is very, very politically unpopular because VAT is something that is paid by all the citizens, and half of this country is suffering in the extreme. They're unemployed, so any raise in VAT just kills them. The other half of the people who are working are literally, living from day to day. So raising VAT on most people with jobs isn't really going to be too popular. So can we cut expenditure? Well, hell yes. We've got 75 ministers and deputy ministers with homes in Cape Town, homes in Pretoria, cars for days, security details, cell phone contracts, blue lights, extra batteries in their cars for the blue lights. You got to buy those pointy shoes. They don't come cheap.
Hey, thanks for signing up, man.
But that then becomes very unpopular with your comrades. So we are not going to cut expenditure. Cyril Ramaphosa, when he came into power, said that what he's going to do is cut the size of government. And he's done exactly the opposite. Can he cut social grants? I would say not without a riot. So there's no way that we're cutting social grants. Besides, that's become his only kind of electioneering thing. He's very proud of the fact that we pay social grants to half the country. He sees that as an achievement. Maybe some of these crazy plans that are going to cost a lot of money, like national health insurance, well, that's going to cost trillions of rands. Maybe it's time to consider whether that's actually viable.
Now, see, the reason why I'm doing this live stream, and this has actually been, it went live yesterday. America's in a similar position, but every excuse he's given that Africa doesn't have to get out of this, America has 3 times the quote unquote tools to get out of it, to prevent us from going the same way as South Africa. And actually South Africa going down will actually benefit America. But all the points this guys are making, it's a correlation with the direction that America was going. I saw us leading to where South Africa is right now, which is bankrupt.
But let's now view this budget in the light of the government of national unity, because this will be the first budget that doesn't belong only to the ANC. Mm-hmm. And we should all be very aware of it. This budget that comes out, as unpopular as it's going to be, must be owned by the ANC and the Democratic Alliance and the Freedom Front Plus and the IFP and the Patriotic Alliance, as well as the rats and mice.
See, I did a video about 9 months ago on the DNC when they lost control and power, and they merged, or they brought in a few of those, the RC and this other political platform. And that's when I stopped talking about South Africa, because I wanted to see what business moves and what they were doing, because the DNC has had total control of that country for like 25 years, nonstop. All contracts, all negotiations, all money flow went through them, totally corrupt. And they knew that they were bankrupt. I knew that they were bankrupt. So they got these other parties in because they're trying to get a coalition of their people and population. That's what he's talking about right now, is that coalition that's going to have to pass. And when he says the budget's going to be unpopular, boy, howdy, is that an understatement. I'll probably do another show when they actually do the budget proposal to let you see the panic in the streets when it comes out.
Right. These that are in the government of national unity, these guys are all part of cabinet. This is their budget. If you have supported one of those parties, this is your budget. The people you voted for are running this mess.
Yeah.
Now, we know that one of the big appeals of the government of national unity, one of the big selling points, was going to be better fiscal management. Now, we're about to go over the cliff.
Now see what they cried when we stopped.
Talk of the finance minister looking for a further loan of $27 billion at the World Bank. World Bank saying, I'm not sure you're good for this debt. But when that debt gets rung up, it's going to be rung up in the name of the government of national unity. Now, I thought that the reason that they formed the government of national unity was because you're going to get business involved. We're going to have these business-friendly policies.
I did too.
Oh, no, nothing like that. In fact, ever since the government of national unity has been formed, the state has been more stridently anti-business than before. Yeah, we've seen some interest rate cut, but that's just a function of very high interest rates, very low inflation. In fact, it's a miracle South Africa has inflation at all because you can afford higher prices. So this isn't an achievement of government. This is just market forces at work. But I want to know where the government of national unity, when they will take ownership for this budget, because up until now, there have been some easy rides. You could blame everything on ANC policies. But now these are the policies of the ANC, the DA, the IFP, Freedom Front Plus, Patriotic Alliance. Understand that when the finance minister goes up there and raises taxes, he's not raising it as an ANC government that has stolen your money. He is doing this as the finance minister of a government of national unity, representing them, and they must agree with him that those taxes must be raised. So I would say that as much as we can blame the past on the ANC's failings because their economic policies have been terrible, that's what got us into trouble in the first place. But it's time that the government of national unity and all of those parties that I mentioned take ownership for the mess that's going on in our economy. These were the guys that said, we've got to avoid the doomsday scenario, the doomsday pact that are going to run the country so badly from an economic point of view. But don't worry, the good guys are now in the government of national unity and business is going to be great. Well, we did see a slight improvement in sentiment, but we haven't seen one business-friendly policy. All we keep on hearing about is more money going to more harebrained schemes. All we know is that there's a push to continue to put in plans that we can't pay for.
Africana.
I mean, even hidden in the Bell Act, it wasn't hidden, but they just added another year onto schooling. That increases the cost of schooling, which I think is important. But please understand the economic impact.
See, now what you also got, another reason why I brought this video up is because it's a correlation again with what America is not going to be doing. When that new party, that unity party he's talking about, they were supposed to make change and they didn't. And the difference between them and America is on day one of a new government, a lot of change was made, and we're on like, I don't know, week 3 and change is still a coming. To where South Africa, this happened, they got their government vote like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, maybe 6 months, I don't know. And but what's happened is they haven't made those moves, and that is causing them issue right now.
You know, we'd all love nice things, and some stuff would be real. We all need a nice new laptop, but that costs money. And it's good that children are going to grade R, but the state has to pay for this. So in other words, the education budget has to go. National health insurance is going to be the Lollapalooza of money spending. And this must fall quite squarely in the lap of the government of national unity. We better get used to saying that, because the honeymoon is over and every decision coming out of the government now comes out of the government of national unity, not the ANC. We can blame Cyril, we can dislike Cyril, we can dislike his policies, but understand that what happens when the finance minister reads his budget, he reads it as part of the government of national unity. They're going to have to vote on it. In other words, this budget has to be passed. Now what happens? Now it's going to get serious. It's going to be fun, because he's going to come out with a budget that's going to push our debt to GDP ratio even more. It's going to make no option of economic growth possible because we've got business unfriendly policies. And eventually, in about a week after the budget, all those parliamentarians have to sit there and approve the budget. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what these supposedly business-friendly parties in the government of national unity say when they have to vote to approve this budget. Or are they actually going to grow a backbone and say, no, this is a bad budget? Well, time will tell. I get the feeling that this will be yet another red line that will be crossed. We're now crossing so many red lines, it looks ridiculous, where the government of national unity says, no, get our spending under control. But when push comes to shove, the allure of those parliamentary positions, those cabinet positions, the blue lights, the houses here, the houses there, the international travel, minister this, minister that, don't look me in the eye because I'm the minister, is going to be too strong. And those government of national unity parties are going to show themselves to be the weaklings that they've been. They won't hold the ANC to account. They'll just say, we hate it, we'll vote for it. And they will clap like seals when we have the budget debate, and they will then defend our economic policies, knowing that it won't lead to the economic growth that we need and greater debt. Remember one thing, please remember this, and that is South Africa chooses to be poor. We could choose to be rich, but we choose to be poor.
Did you hear that? They choose to be poor. And they choose to be poor by their political decisions and the votes or the lack of legal voting. Hey, what's up, Jeff? That have gotten and kept this one, the DNC party, in control for 25 plus years. And now they're so far down the road, it can't. It's a train wreck. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm hey, what's up, Daryl? I'm a little too elated, but keep an eye on South Africa. Oh, and by the way, when South Africa goes a little bit further down the road of stupid, look for platinum prices to break out, because that's what's going to happen. Platinum prices break out because the reason why South Africa is in such problem is it's the One Belt Road Initiative, the Chinese One Belt Road Initiative. You really should look into all and study all the economics behind every country that's ever signed up to that One Belt Road Initiative and see the devastation that happens. And then look at South Africa and say, wow, for 13 years, cool. That's what it looks like. Yeah, that's what it looks like. They've been stealing from South Africa because their government is so corrupt. Their government sold out all the resources that they had, platinum, gold, diamonds, all sold out to China, dirt cheap. Right now, you can buy it dirt cheap. As soon as they go bankrupt, you will not be able to get platinum dirt cheap, because at that point in time, the regulation goes out the window, and the companies that are actually mining it at about, I don't know, $1,300 an ounce will refuse to sell it to you for $950. As a matter of fact, they'll refuse to sell it to you for anything less than probably twice the cost of mining it, which will instantly throw platinum above its all-time high of 22 and throw it to, I don't know, maybe 28. So when I started saying buy silver and platinum and crystallized osmium, and the reason why people call me the king, the prince of platinum, I've seen this coming. You guys, everyone, you've heard Andy Sheckman talk the glories of South African GDP. Just like China, and I've got videos on this too, they were a paper dragon. And I saw it, and China's going to go the same way, because you can only entrap so many countries into bankruptcy before you go bankrupt yourself, because they're consuming all their natural resources to continue to grow. So China's on a burnt-out, dead-end road right now, and they're going to be hitting the same path as South Africa is currently on. So I suggest that you, right now, platinum's the best out there. Silver will probably earn you a bigger percentage gain on your money. Platinum will be second. Gold will be a far third, unless you bought gold at like $300-400 an ounce. You're not going to get nearly the return on investment on gold as you will off of silver, and then platinum after that, in my personal opinion. Thank God, Pete, because if you guys signed up to that One Belt Road Initiative, you'd be bankrupt just like South Africa within 10 years. Every country. Italy signed up, and I did a video on this too. Italy signed up for the One Belt Road Initiative, and I caught a lot of flack for doing this video. People were calling me a racist and shit. Italy signed up for it for 1 year. Their little blonde-headed PM looked at the numbers after a year, looked at the contract, and told them to shove it up their butt. They said the contract said it was fair, equal trade, but the numbers after 12 months show that you're getting 400% of the profit margin, and we're getting 50% of what we were told. So you're the one, obviously, to gain. If we were staying this, we'd be bankrupt within 10 years. Shove it up your butt. And they stepped out of the One Belt Road Initiative, and everyone taunted them and said, "Oh, she's a Karen. She's a this. She's that." No, she was very, 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 very. Yeah, Melanie. She's a very smart woman. She allowed them to show their cars and then said, "Screw you," and stepped out of the deal. And I did a video on that too, because it was very brazen of her and a good thing to do. But anyhow, I had a friend just call, and he's in a bad way, and I got to go pick him up because it's raining. So I have to cut this short. Again, I just wanted to show you this video of South Africa. It applies to the price of platinum fixing to jump through the roof. Because again, once South Africa's bankrupt, all the contracts go null and void. But they don't have any more platinum. It costs them, they got to go down 2,200 meters to get 1 ounce. And then they got to pull it out of the ground. That's over a mile. The electricity, the time, the equipment, sending oxygen down there, the cooling system, very, very expensive. So they're probably going to go bankrupt. And Thunder Bay, Canada, Clean Air Metals, their platinum vein's only 400 meters underground. So they're going to be the platinum leaders of the world. And you heard it here first. Neil's on Dynasty. So make appropriate moves financially for that to happen. Because as you saw the video, South Africa, the leader of platinum production, 70% of the world's production comes from that country. They are fixing to dissolve as a government because of bankruptcy this year. And that's why I've said Q3, the average retail person will see the price of platinum to the moon, baby. And yes, it'll end up going way. Yeah, it's raining here too. It's going to go way past double golds because it's been restrained for over a decade and a half, or close to a decade and a half. It's going to shoot up way. If gold goes at 32 when this happens, platinum will be. Let me just put it this way: buy the platinum now, okay? Because as soon as it doesn't matter how far. If you buy it now, it doesn't matter how far above. Regardless of how far above gold it goes. If you have 1 ounce of platinum now and it goes up to the equal price of gold, and you can trade 1 platinum for 1 gold, that means you just paid $1,000 for 1 gold piece whenever that happens. And if the gold is worth $3,000 at the time, then you just got gold for less than people can buy it now. Holy shit, isn't that cool? That's a cool way to buy gold cheaper than you can buy it now. As a matter of fact, you can probably pick up gold for 1/3 the price of what they're charging now if you play the ratios of platinum silver or platinum gold. And I've said this, a lot of other people on YouTube have done it. The ratios, look at the ratios, platinum gold, platinum silver. They're in play. That's all I can say. They're in play. So if you look at them and play the ratios. And one of the best ratios out there now is platinum to gold. Because right now, if you have a gold piece and you already paid an outstandingly high price for a gold piece, get you can get 2.5 ounces of platinum right now for 1 gold. Yeah, but see, if you have gold, with this information I just gave you from the government, people down there in South Africa, they're going bankrupt, they're going belly up. Platinum's going to soar. If I had any gold, which I don't buy gold, it's too expensive. If I had a gold piece, I'd trade it for platinum, because within 18 months you'll be able to take the platinum. Okay, take 1 gold, trade it for 2.5 ounces of platinum. In 18 months, you take that 2.5 ounces of platinum, and you can get yourself either 2.5 ounces of gold or probably 5 ounces of gold for the same cost of 1 ounce of gold now. That's ratio playing ratio. So you can make 5 times as much gold if you just trade 1 gold in for platinum right now. If you have 5 gold pieces, do it with just 1. Play the ratios. Wait 18 months. This is not financial advice. I'm just telling you what's happening geopolitically around the world. And if South African government falls, well, geopolitically, that's no big deal unless they control 70% of the platinum production. Then it becomes a chartable thing. then your investors in precious metals might want to look at it. That's all I'm saying, guys. All right, well, I got to take off, give my buddy a ride because he is in the rain right now. I thank every one of you. Please replay any part of this you want to get any more information for the South African government. Do a comparison to the American government. The new South African government took over 4, 5, 6 months ago and just continued with the same policies. The road differential that America's on is on day one, our new regime made more changes than the last 4 years, and they haven't stopped making changes. So our path is going to go different than South Africa. That I can guarantee you. God bless everyone. Thank you for showing up and have a great day.